talk to a lot of entrepreneurs along the way, and it's a really special topic to me in the journey because I'm a consumer. I'm on the marketing side, being born and raised in Los Angeles, and we've talked a little bit about my upbringing in this space. And so, you know, you being from you from Texas?
I was born in North Carolina, raised in Orange, Texas.
Raised in Orange, Texas, and that's a small town.
Small town,
and
country boy.
So did you start smoking in?
No, my dad was a policeman.
Oh wow.
Dad was the McGruff.
Wow. Okay.
In Texas, not to smoke.
Yeah, tell you not to smoke. Okay. So then you went from there, and then you shout out to Prairie View. Ended up at Prairie View. I know I went to school there. Shout out to the HBCUs. But where on that path did you find the plant?
Well, I found a plant when I was in Orange. I did find a plant when I was in Orange. Me and my boys would mess with my cousins who was, selling weed at the time, and we sell weed to the other people, and it would be grass mixed in with weed, and we just take advantage of them. And but I grew up around it. I grew up, even though my dad was a cop, everybody else was on the streets, and Orange was a small town. And
were they really like getting good stuff? Because I can imagine like in LA, like. We had the fire, so I don't know what you were getting out there in Orange.
We was getting some brownish looking, it looked like grass. It looked like burnt grass.
Man, almost, the fact that you could mix grass in it,
Oh, we get them, but they'd be like, oh, this look good. There wasn't no resin on that shit.
For sure.
It was, and as the time progressed, it would be like, oh, I got popcorn. Then popcorn became, oh, I got that, that hydro. And you be like, oh, what's hydro? You know what I mean? So. But it was never, I tell people all the time, I don't never remember until probably 2000 and maybe, 5 or 4 before I was like, oh, I got a flavor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's that Durban poison. Oh, for real? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but.
That's how it be.
It came, LA, when I came out of Cali, my first job was in Walnut Creek. I was working for Accenture at the time.
Yeah. What year?
This is 2000, and I started in 2001.
2001, okay.
Yeah. So that's when they first brought me out to San Francisco. And so I'm about there right before I go to grad school. I'm in San Ramon. And at this time I'm having sciatic nerve issues because I'm traveling so much and back and forth. And I'm sitting on my wallet. So long story short, I caused the issue. And I didn't want to take medication because I'm working like 18-hour days. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's like, well, I don't want to take Vicodin or something like that because it makes me drowsy and all this stuff. So I'm talking to some buddies that work with me that lived in the Bay Area, and they're like, oh yeah, you should go try a dispensary and alternative methods. I'm like, oh okay, yeah. And so
shout
I'm
out to Berkeley. Man, Berkeley's a nice place.
Love it. One of the best places I lived.
Yeah.
And good people, and I trusted them. And then at that time I always say it's funny, you can work for McDonald's and they'll run you through drug tests. Yeah. So every few months. But then you go work for a consulting company where you have the power to get other people fired and everything else, and yet you can smoke and do whatever you want. Nobody's ever going to touch you. I love it. So, I said that's when it woke me up, and I was like, this is I see why they banned this. I see why pharmaceutical companies and everything else don't want this available to the people, because I said it frees you.
It frees you.
It freed me. And I had sinus issues. I had all kind of issues. I had high blood pressure, all kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't say that out loud too much. That don't have those issues today.
Yeah.
I tell people, I'm like, hey, the only thing I can tell you I do constantly is smoke weed.
Smoke weed. Yeah.
I don't drink. Not a big drinker. Not big on other over the counter stuff. I mean, it's just I like weed. It makes me happy. And
so you're in this phase of the 9-to-5 space. It's heavy. It sounds like, because that's corporate, real corporate over there. So you're not just 9-to-5. You full-time employee. Like, I'm at work, and you find this plant that helps you, ease the pain, ease things. Then when did you get to the point where you started not going past the consuming part of it, of growing it, of getting your own? Was it like hey man, it'd probably be better if I grew my own, or what was that revelation?
you hit the hammer on the nail. I'm a finance guy, so I'm like, man, I'm adding up these eighths and everything else, and I'm like, man, it's like $4 in a week.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting there like, nah, we got something we got to figure out here.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it was like, man, one time I get this great flower, and it's amazing. Then the next time for the next 2 times I get this shit, I'm like, man, I don't even want to smoke this.
I don't want to smoke this.
So.
That's a little high maintenance coming from orange.
It got there,
Yeah.
But that wasn't the time to Cali.
Yeah,
it wasn't time to Cali.
Yeah.
The Cali made me a snob.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like, what, that ain't Durban? Like, I can't mess with it. And so, that's what changed my that experience, having the exposure to such good flavors and everything else. It just opened my mind.
Yeah.
And that's when it really started the path down that road where it's like, it went from 2004 when I got introduced to it, started doing recreationally, and then, kind of morphed in. I went to grad school at that time.
Yeah.
Started going back and forth to Cali every week from grad school. My grad school cohorts and friends would be like, oh, man, why are you always going to Cali? I'm like, I love Cali.
I love it.
Chicago cold, man.
Yeah, right?
So
I love it.
I'm going out to Cali and bring it back, Poundswood now sometimes. And, when I moved back after graduating, I moved back to Houston, and I just said, you know what? I get to go consult, and I'll make sure I'm always stationed in California.
Yeah.
They'll pay for my housing. They'll pay for my car. Oh, and by the way, I'll take all that money and that stipend and try to see if I can get into a dispensary.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what started it. I got into it with a buddy. I invested in a group out here. They were doing pretty well, young guys. I saw them get my money back. After that, the money stopped, which I was like, oh, okay. Which I'm like, hey,
it stopped the money train, right?
I'm going to cash you out. I'm like, all right, cool. I got my money back, made a good investment return. I started looking at it myself. I was scared of it because, my mom, being the background I come from, very,
2005, from what I recall, the stores out here were still getting raided, but it was legal. You could still go get stores because I was buying weed in 2005. I was 18. I was able to go in the store.
Medical card.
It said you have to go get a medical card. Shout out 1877 got Kush, and so I would get that was one of my first sponsors. They sponsored. I had an entertainment company called Hot Box Entertainment, and we had. I made my first deck. My first deck I ever made was on a Word document. It was a paragraph that said, what was Hot Box Entertainment? And was we are artists who promote marketing and music about cannabis and about et cetera, et cetera. And I wrote what they got. It was like, your logo is going to be in the back of T-shirts, hoodies, hats, all this, like lighters. I said, we're going to get all this merch. And it was on a Word doc. And I got 20 grand out that deal. Now, I spent about 14, 15 on merch, but it was a Word doc. Like, so for my confidence, it's like, imagine going into a place right now asking money and showing you a Word doc, like, give me 20 grand. Like, I'll look at somebody like hell no. Nah. But we were able to get them to sponsor all of our CDs, all of our merch, because we did a brand partnership. That was without even knowing, that was my first brand partnership. My first, and it was with Cannabis, and it was like, wow, this is really amazing, and we had that out, but it was just that easy at that time. And even I remember buddies of mine, shout out to the Green Group, we had they had a dispensary, and I know it was like $50K for the license there, but it was still kind of iffy on what was going on. Federally, like what's going on. So I can't imagine. So you going through this now, 2005, trying to figure out, okay, how do I dive in this, especially with the stigma of cannabis, because it's still not even what it is now. Like only Snoop Dogg is smoking weed, and that's it. So how did you then make that decision to say, okay, forget all the stigma, I'm going to, because at this point you're not selling the plant.
No, I wasn't selling it. I was just looking at investing in buddies at this time.
So you're investing in it, and then you started growing.
So I started growing in 2007.
Okay.
So I moved back to Texas.
Yeah.
I moved back to Texas. I graduated in 2006. I moved back to Texas. I'm selling weed. I'm going back and forth to Cali, buying weed and bringing it back. And I have a doctor friend, Dr. Barry. And so Dr. Berry is always buying good product for me and stuff. So I'm sitting at home one day, I'm looking through some grow books, and we're over there sitting there shooting shit, smoking. He's like, "Oh man, I got a grow tip."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Stop lying." He's like, "Yeah, I'll give it to you. I ain't never used it. My wife won't let me use it."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No shit." So he gives me the grow tit. I put it in the attic of my house, man. It is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. It looked like a weed. You know? So I'm like, all right, this ain't gonna work. So I moved it down to the first floor, the basement area with the garage, and started seeing some okay results. I had to read all these Bibles and everything, which worked. Ed Rosin and all those, they actually, back then they worked.
Yeah.
And then, after a while, by now it's 2010, I'm starting to really kick out some nice stuff. Got my stuff down, kind of got my little formula. I decided, you know what, let me go big in LA.
Yeah.
I'm like, at this time I'm working for BP. I started a small construction company with my boy Kevin. I left consulting. I had a little bit of money, but by 2008 to 2009, we had the financial crisis.
Got it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I just tore my Achilles, so I was kind of down. The smoking weed helped me kind of come back. I felt
How'd you do
faster.
Hooping?
At freaking the first one I blew hooping. The second one I was at Prairie View, stomping around the yard on homecoming.
You weren't stretching. You didn't stretch before you started stumping.
Next thing I do, I blow my Achilles.
Man.
I was hurt, boy. I had to leave homecoming. But
oh man,
you look at 09, I'm just moving weed. 10, still doing the same. I'm building my money.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to LA. BP oil spill hits. I get a job with BP. So I'm working with them. I amass amount of money. Now I'm like, whoa. They keep me on, and all the while they asking me, "Oh man, you going out to Cali all the time?"
Yeah.
All right, now this is interesting because one of the guys that I used to work for, in Walnut Creek, when I worked for Chevron, in 2004, he remembers my name. He's like, "Man, I remember your name. You used to work on my project in Chevron."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you."
Yep.
Bill Desmond, he's one of my partners to this day. So he says, he's like, "You still do it?" He said, "What you going to California for?" So
what you going for? Yeah.
So by now I done got him in Apple investments. He made some money, silver, stuff like that. So he kind of trusts me on a different level.
Yeah.
And we on this BP oil spill working 19-hour days, eating together all day, just working the shit. And he's like, "Man, listen, man, I want to talk to you about Cali." So I said, "All right."
Yeah.
And I'm still I'm living a double life.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I go to Cali and I'm a whole different dude. Don't nobody, what I mean?
Yeah.
I come to Houston, got my polo shirt on and my khakis.
I'm at work.
And shit, right? I'm at work. And so, Bill's like, "I want to talk to you about a private matter." So he invites me out and we decide to go to his house in Sonoma.
Got it.
He brings us to his, he invites us to his cabin in Sonoma. And as we're sitting out there, he's like, "Listen, this is 78 acres in Sonoma." He's like, "Can you make it work?" I was like, "What you mean make it work?"
What you mean, can I make it work?
He's like, "Man, I'm going to tell you, say, hey, look, I'm a white man. I know you probably apprehensive about this shit, but he's like, I like the way you work. I believe what you trying to do."
So did he know what you was doing?
He do what I do. My boy Trip, my project lead, knew about what I was doing.
So he told
Trip
him.
was covering for me.
Yeah.
Right, but Trip smoked weed. So Trip was like, "I got you," right?
Yeah.
And so he had told Bill, he said, "Man, that dude," he said, "he ain't gonna tell nobody."
Yeah.
But that dude,
he got it.
He got it. He's like, so Bill was like, "I want to give him my land to do outdoor." I was like, "Come on." He's like, "All this is yours.
Yep.
You think you can make it work? And I'll come out here and work with you."
Yep.
I said, "Bill, you gonna let me, this young brother from Texas, live in your cabin here in Sonoma
and grow
weed illegally on your land?
Yeah.
You do know your shit can get took, right?"
Yeah.
And I would get out of jail 2 days later, but I just want you to know your shit can get took.
Yeah.
Bill say, "Hey man, I think this is the right thing to do." And I said, "Whoa."
Yep.
He said this, and I credit Bill today. He's probably up in that cabin right now. He's probably the first, white person I ever took an investment opportunity from because I had my own thoughts on things. Yeah. And I wanted to build this.
The brand. So then you went from strain to brand. So because now you went from selling to now growing and selling. So you have a part of because we'll get to if you have full everything now, but like how did you now get into, let me start my own brand? Because now Blackstar came out in 2012.
That's right.
So then how did you transfer into that phase of the business?
No, so my thinking then was I want this to be it's named after what Marcus Garvey tried to put together.
Yeah.
Right, the Blackstar line.
Yep.
And that's the whole premise. Right?
Yep.
Like I was like, I want this to be the star that guides us to work and build a social economic, circle that we continuously to feed, and it grows, and the pie grows, and we give each other back.
Yep.
We give each other more and more back each time. Right, fueling ourselves so that at the end of the day, when we look around to our peers and ethnic peers, we can say, hey, we are here, right? And you're going to respect us because we got the finance, we got the economics.
Yep.
I thought that I said, this is going to be a big industry. We don't manufacture anymore.
Yeah.
We don't do any of these things.
And it's scary too, because you're not even a head. Like there's so many more. It's 1% of you, probably less than that.
That's right. That's right.
So how does one then now get into the cannabis industry? Is there still a way? Because I know there's different brands that are doing accessories. I know there's like there's food lines.
Yes.
Like how does someone now, because you've been in this for a long time, 15 years, 20 years, how does someone now get into and say, I want to start getting into the cannabis industry, and what does that bring to them?
I mean, look at where you're at. The state starts right now. It's still state regulated, so it depends on where you're at. What state you're in. New York is at a different phase, and they've got social equity opportunity. You've got to look at the qualifications. It's not easy.
Yeah.
They're not making it. Doesn't even make sense in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
You look at New York and they say that they want you to be a person with a felony.
Yep.
Right, which we all know impacts you from getting loans and jobs and everything else.
Yep.
But if you're a person with a felony, you have to have 2 years of a profitable business. That's kind of contradictory almost.
It's very
right?
contradictory, yeah.
And then on top of being 2 years of a profitable business, you need to be from a disadvantaged area code. Wait a minute, dog.
So I gotta be making profit but still live in the hood where I'm trying to get out of.
How does that even make sense?
Yeah, I think when they make those criteria, they don't realize like I'm trying to get out of that, because it's just like, we're in it, and they think we still trying to stay in it, and it's like, nah, bro, I'm trying to get to where you at. They don't understand that, and so in that phase, how does it feel to then be the only version of you really in this space? And when I say that, is there are a lot of brands out there, people that have their names on the brand, but you have distribution, you have grow, yes, and then you have, what's the other one?
Distribution, cultivation, manufacturing, right? And so we are allowed to grow the product.
Yeah.
We're about to get a nursery license to where we can have babies and sell them.
Yeah.
Right. We'll have we're allowed to design.
Yeah.
And manufacture products, right, from start to finish.
To go to market. And so a lot of brands, they may just have their face on the brand and they're in the end user, but this is rare that you have a brand that's a black brand there you could come at and be the face of your brand, supported by a black brand, and the strain powered by Blackstar, and the strains are good too. And so, man, this has been a great conversation. We've unpacked a lot, and I can imagine like there's more. Like, is there anything you feel like I should touch on? We touched on a lot. Like, I feel like we got a lot of shout out to Loyal, always doing that good film. But we got a lot of impactful stuff. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I want.
I mean, you are a client of mine.
I want to say thank you. I mean, I think I had an opportunity to meet Kathy coming in.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I know the Nicholas brothers from history. I'm a big historian, and that's amazing to meet.
Yeah,
granddaughter. So keep doing what you're doing, man. We need more of it.
Yeah,
this is people like me do it, but I don't have the time to get out there and let people know who I am. So I thank you for being in the house.
I'm a truly enthusiast of entrepreneurs, because all my life I've wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew everybody around me was that, and it was always a negative tone in our community. But it's like, nah, I want to own my own time. I want to have something I own that I can give to my kids and lead to my family and just create a legacy. And that's important. So you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, it's really about finding your passion, finding your dream, and dive into that and being consistent about it. You know, you don't have to just start. You could be corporate. You could be 9 to 5. You know, you can go those routes and then dive into it and grow. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Entrepreneur Enthusiasts. We got Blackstar Farms here. It's fire. One of the. I love it. Follow them on Instagram at Blackstar Farms. Go to the website Blackstar Farms. Every episode is always sponsored by Affluent Solution, back-end software to help with your lead generation and automation.
They do good work.
Hey, thank you for the review, the live review. Y'all tune into another episode of Entrepreneur Enthusiast Podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that.